Good morning, everybody. This is Daniel here with Propelio, and we have a special guest from today. We've got Marc Hrisko, and this man has been a personal mentor of mine virtually. You may not even realize it, but I've been following you for close to 2 years on Facebook. You put out content on a regular basis that I absolutely love to digest. So it's an honor for me to have you into the studio today to discuss you and your business and what you have going on, because I feel like everybody that watches us on a regular basis has a lot to learn from you. So.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me out, and thanks for those kind words. When you reached out to me, you said, hey, would you come out and do this? Of course, I jumped at the opportunity because, believe it or not, I watch you as well, and I watch the show, and I'm always picking up nuggets of people that you're interviewing or Ryan's interviewing. So, yeah, it's an honor to be here. That's awesome. Why I jumped on that plane, and no questions asked. Just give me a time and place. So, yeah.
So to give some feedback on how and why I kind of started following you was, I was starting out into some new construction type of stuff, and I saw you on a daily basis, like, well, here's a new property I'm building, here's another property I'm building. It's like coast to coast. It's like I'm doing this all across, and I'm like, man, this guy is just killing it. So, I mean, let's take a look at where you got into this business and how you ended up, doing what you're doing today, because it amazes me.
So I started 15 years ago. I was a firefighter. So I got hired in the fire department at 19, barely made it out of high school, right?
Okay.
I was going to go in the military. My father was in the military. His basic comment was, look, I brought you up a military lifestyle. Don't, go find another public service. So I picked a fire department.
Okay.
So my who is now wife, my girlfriend, I met her when I was a firefighter and a medic in Hampton. She was a trauma nurse, so I met her in the ER, right? And she was a travel nurse. And the funny story is, ask her out. No, I'm not going to be here long, right? She was travel. And finally one day she said, look, you keep asking me, I'll do lunch with you. I'm not doing dinner, but I'm gonna do lunch with you, right? So she scheduled a Sunday lunch, and that Saturday night, being a fireman, right, we're all have a party at my apartment, and busted all 4 of my teeth out.
Oh, joy.
So Sunday I can't go to the dentist before we show up to lunch, so I showed up for lunch with no teeth.
Oh, man.
So she I guess at that point she's like, all right, let's pursue this relationship. So she said, look, long story short, if I'm going to stay here in this country and have a life with you, I want to go home every year for a month, spend time with my family, right? I'll meet my family somewhere else in the world for another month out of the year. And I'm thinking, well, hell, on a firefighter's salary, on a nursing salary, it's not going to happen. She comes from a self-made family, and I hate using that word self-made because I don't believe any of us are self-made, but you know how we use the term. Her parents didn't come from money. They were entrepreneurs. And so she grew up in a mindset, short-term sacrifices make long-term gains, right? Okay. So I said, what are we going to do? She goes, we're going to start a business. And I don't know nothing about damn business, right? I'm damn near high school dropout, right? So I give credit where credit's due. I went to a Russ Whitney seminar with her, and that's how we started investing in real estate. So that was at age 26, and then at age 30, I had to make the hardest decision, and today it's still the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, was leaving the fire department, leaving my brothers and sisters to pursue real estate investing full time. So at that point, I started teaching others through Russ Whitney. I was mentoring, and then after mentoring, I went ahead with Tim Chafin, one of my mentors, wrote a rehabbing guide for their advanced training, right? And then after that, went on to the bigger platforms of the 3-day, middle-end type of teachings and sales for all the gurus out there and all the celebrities. So 15 years later, here we are. The difference is, and I take pride in this, is I've always done the business.
That's one of the things that I always catch with you, and you always say, I teach it because I actually do it.
Yes.
And that is one of the frustrations I've had from mentors that I've had in the past, was they're talking about all these things I need to be doing. I'm like, you haven't even done this in 15 years. How are you going to tell me what I need to be doing?
I mean, they're talking about a place where, 7 years ago, you put a 2x4 in the ground and overnight it appreciates, right? And those days are gone. And, we've been up, we've been down. I've had banks call $4 million notes on me, right? I had to go ride it through as well. But knowing multiple streams, understanding multiple strategies, entrance and exit, it's what I teach, is what was able for us to survive the storm and not ever have to go destitute or bankrupt or anything such as that.
Can we dig into that some? Because I know a lot of people that went through that last downturn and lost it all, and it sounds like you weathered it. So what were some of the things that maybe you had in place that were allowing you to cut through that?
Well, I learned from the very beginning, and when I say I learned from the very beginning, I was taught right, but I thought I knew better. right? So I tried to reinvent the wheel. Right. So instead of wholesaling or constantly doing assignments or having cash flow come in from the very beginning, what we were doing is we were buying and holding, and then cash out, refinance, go buy and hold another duplex, fix it up, cash out, refinance, right?
Right.
So eventually would we run out of money? So at that point I realized, crap, I can't put all my eggs in one basket. And then I started realizing I got to diversify. So then we started just doing some assignments to build up capital again, and then get into flipping, 1, 2, 3 at a time, then go buy and hold, and flip 1, 2, 3, and then buy and hold. And so I mentally, I look back and I mentally realized, you know what, I'll never put all my eggs in one basket again. So at that point I said, all right, so I'm hiring somebody else to manage our properties. Why not have my own property management company? So we started that. Another income flow, right? I want my own wholesale company, all right? Another income flow. So I'm not going to say I was consciously enough to weather it off the bat.
Right.
I just knew from the mistakes I made in the very beginning, when that downturn came, look, I don't know if any of us saw the downturn. People can say hindsight 2020, yeah, we saw it coming. Right. But when you're in it at the time, I don't know. But I was just smart enough, right, to have multiple streams, teaching others as well. That was a stream of income. And that's one of the things, I'd hear a lot from the big stages, well, if you're so successful, why are you here doing it? Well, make no mistake about it, it's a stream of income. Right. Every multimillionaire has at least 7 streams of income, different streams. So that was another stream as well. So it's how we were able to weather it when, they called, that and proper asset protection too, right?
Okay.
So that's a whole another subject. And I'm not a lawyer or an accountant by any means, but having proper asset protection to where I had assets spread around. So when a bank went under, another bank bought it, right? That bank that bought it said, okay, who do we know that has money?
Oh, joy.
And just the whole game of it. Right. And I'll never say the banks, but when they called those 4 million of holds that we had, it was in one entity. So we were able to structure that one entity to play the game of, how are we going to do this, to negotiate a payoff type of deal. So, and not everything was tied into our personal name. So that played a big role into it as well.
So sounds like there was a little bit of chess getting played around there, but I mean that's part of the business. I mean the bank's playing it with you. You might as well play back, right?
Well, full transparency, right? I mean that's one thing I'll take pride in is I talk about the bad and the ugly, the mistakes we make. We still made them. Hell, I did a whole video of a mistake that we made on Deep Creek the other day, right? With the cutting of the granite, the damn refrigerator wouldn't fit in. So yeah, they're playing a chess game, and they're I always say, and I said it from the front of the room. There's recordings of it, so I don't mind saying it now. Banks are evil. Okay. I get it. They have a game to play. We just decided we were going to fight back and not roll over. And an agreement came to where it worked out in everybody's best interest. They still made money. We still were able to keep some and not lose everything in that one entity. So yeah.
Because what I'm sitting here thinking of is on my side, if I was in that situation, and I'm not saying that this is what, but I mean, I've got multiple entities set up there. We're talking about bankruptcies. Like, you want to come after me? You're trying to liquidate my accounts because of your mistakes. No, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's go down this path.
Well, that was my mindset. I was never late on a payment. Never late on taxes. Right? Insurances was good.
You messed up, and now you're trying to make me pay for it.
Exactly. And I knew that the government was going to give. They had to reach a certain dollar amount. What total they bought a bank. They had to take a loss. They bought it for 10 cents on the dollar, right? And then when they reached a total, I don't want to say what dollar amount, but a total dollar amount of a loss, then the FDIC kicks in dollar for dollar of everybody they could get judgments on.
Right.
So they're trying to play that judgment game, right? So yeah, but yeah, neither here nor there. I was able to weather it because I started off in the beginning trying to reinvent the wheel, not doing what my mentors told me and my trainers told me, and kind of ran out of money. I knew I was going to run out of money if I kept just having all my eggs in one basket.
Right, so that makes sense. So going from there, I mean, like we were watching you earlier, you're a multi-millionaire by 30. What were some of the things that progressed and allowed you to grow that?
Oh, risk tolerance.
I love that answer.
Risk tolerance, and it goes back to, I think, being a firefighter, right? We're getting paid to run into burning buildings when everybody else is running out, we're running in. So I take a lot of those concepts that I learned, those 13 years in the fire department, and I bring them into my businesses. And being able to diversify and grow. But I don't know who taught me this, and I wish I could give credit to whoever did teach me this, but the person where I read it or taught it or watched it, it really clicked to me when I read that one day. Every multimillionaire has 7 different streams of income. And it's so true. And even mentors that I talk to now that are 100 millionaires that are mentors of mine, still developing, fine-tuning, and being able to shift when the curveball is thrown at you.
That is a key indicator of being able to maintain wealth.
Exactly.
Because so many people get pigeonholed into this one process, and then times change, demands change, and they're still sitting on that one path and they forget to move.
You know, one thing that I love about being in the studio and seeing all this is today's education, okay? For 12 years, I've traveled the world on big stage events with a model that there's nothing wrong with that model whatsoever. Do I think that there is a different way to do things? Absolutely. And that's why I'm here, right? I think there's a different way to educate people. And one thing that I love about our times today when it comes to real estate, when it comes to real estate investing, when it comes to whether it's new builds or rehabs or assignments or everything, right, is we need to combine the internet at the same time with it. And I think that's what's happening. I know that's what's happening.
That's what we're doing right
and
here.
That's what you're doing, and that's what we are doing with my business partner, Boyd, right?
Right.
And that's why I wanted to jump at this opportunity to come in and talk with you all about it.
Well,
so yeah.
That's exciting, man. So going forward, and like you've been able to achieve a lot in a short period of time, or at least what I would consider to be a short period of time. You know, some people look at someone as like, that was an overnight success. Well, that was an overnight success a decade plus in the making. So
Yeah.
I know how that feels, but
The overnight success of being up all night.
right.
You know, I'm never going to say that I ate Roman noodle because I had to.
Right.
You know, people say that. But I will say there's many a times at night I'm like, shit, where's the next deal going to come from? I know that I got a $30,000 down payment I got to make. I got to go sign some stuff real quick and get on the phone and make stuff happen. I think that's it. No one sees the constant grind behind the scenes. They only see where you're at today.
Yep.
So, and look, it's public record, transparency, companies. I mean, I've been sued 4 different times. Now I've won every lawsuit. I take pride in winning every lawsuit, right? I've never, per se, quote unquote, settled. So people don't see that. People don't see where Kim and I started. I mean, they see this house where we live now, but they don't see the 2-bedroom, 1-bath bungalow where we didn't go out at night to party, where we didn't have the best of vehicles. And look, we still don't have Bentleys and all that. She has a very nice vehicle. I have a F-250, right? Those type of sacrifices we're constantly making to be able, through the years, to take that money, divert it into other businesses and other streams of real estate. And that's what nobody sees, I think, as a rule.
I do want to rewind for just a second, though. And you said, as a firefighter, risk tolerance is very high. You're running into burning buildings while people are running out. With high risk tolerances comes risks.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you may have been burned on going in on? Is there any specific things you learned, like, I can do this? You go in, and you're like, holy shit, I'm getting burned.
Yeah. Thinking that I knew better than people taught me. A lot of it's going to be, don't reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
And where I've gotten burnt, every single time I got burnt, is I tried to reinvent the wheel. I took what somebody taught me and I said, I can do it better. And now, I'm all about fine-tuning, I'm all about tweaking, I'm all about learning from others to implement that into my businesses, right? But when you try to just go full force, i.e., Mark, always have constant cash flow, always do assignments. No. I can look at the bigger, for lack of a better term, nut, and buy and hold, sit on 30 grand of equity, pull 30 grand out. But in the time frame, really, when I was doing that, I could have done 6 more assignments just to get that same amount. Exactly. Right. Every time I got burnt with the risk was because I did not follow a system, or I did not follow what my mentor or trainers told me to do.
Speaking about systems,
yes.
For those that don't know, we do have the Propelio Academy. You were gracious enough to come in early. You shot us some videos for the Academy, but while I was sitting here watching you record, you put out some things that I was really tuning in on that I liked, and that was how systematized you have become. And one of the key things that I caught was, like, you have real estate agents on your team, you kind of have bird dogs, wholesalers on your team, and you've got an Excel spreadsheet that flat out says, this type of lot, I need this, I need this kind of price per foot, and this is what I can offer. So your team, without even really inquiring on you, can buy a property for you.
First off, I have the best team ever. And I say that, and I know some of them are watching now, and I mean it, I have the best team ever. You all work your assets off, and I appreciate it, and it never goes unnoticed, and we're always talking about it, i.e. what you just brought up. But yes, everything I have, my whole business model is spreadsheets and in my wall, and with some of the things that we do, the students can see. And my wall is all a whiteboard. So every wall in my office is a whiteboard.
I like watching your updates because you're like, today's the Monday meetings or whatnot, and it's like, boom, it's just like, here's 90 properties, you got your projector set up and you're going.
And everything is spread out. So at any time, I can walk into my office, look at my whiteboard wall, or I can go online and where all the spreadsheets are and know where every penny of every construction cost, of every draw, of every property, of every new build, of every lot, of everything. And I share it with my team. And that was something that a lot of people, I think, catch them off guard when we're doing some hire and masterminding. Like, so your assistant knows how much money is in the business. Well, yeah, because she's part of the what? Business.
Right.
Andy, the Hubinator, right? If you've ever watched my videos, my lead sales guy, he knows how many properties, what the money is. Paul works with Andy. Paul is the badass realtor that you just said can buy a property for me. Flying out here. Prime example yesterday. I'm flying out here, and he sent me an email in the morning, and I missed it. So I'm on the plane. He texts me, and he goes, all right, I need your highest and best on this lot. It's so-and-so. It's from this one at. I'm like, damn, Paul, 55 is my best. Well, he had somebody at the auction that was getting ready to get sold that on the phone and said, look, I know Mark buys in that area. I'm here. What will Mark pay for it, right? And so that's what I'm talking about, the team that does that, because he knows that that size lot, we could have tore it down, subdivide it, do 2 new builds. Paul knows that the exit strategy in that place was $239. I build for 70 a square without tap, 75 with tap. So yes, they all know it, and it really is.
You get going so fast. I have a varying level of experience on the show.
Sure.
And like you're talking about, you know, I buy at 70 a foot without taps, or with taps. I buy at 75 a foot with taps. Can you explain what you're trying to convey there?
Sorry about it.
Because my experience has allowed me to understand a lot of what you're talking about when you're on your shows. But there's a lot of people out there that can benefit from just understanding what you're talking about here.
And I apologize. It's just that I'm so passionate and I love this stuff and I love teaching it. So what I mean by taps is when we do a new build, something called taps is bringing the water and sewer out to the city water and sewer. So it's tap fees, okay, laying all that out. So there's small tap fees, soft cost I call them, which is just the city for their hookup. And there's hard tap fees, which is actually running the pipes out, right? So when I say 70 a square, basically when I build, my price per square foot of that property is 70 a square. Now that's livable square. Actual square footage of the property is 59 a square. Okay. So when I'm looking at plans or I'm looking at models, I can shift it back and forth, or anybody in my team can shift it back and forth.
That's great.
So that's what I mean via taps or non-taps.
Okay, and you've got all this down into spreadsheets, because earlier you were talking about, like, you know, I know in this specific one I got 7 foot side setbacks on the side, 25 on the front, 10 on the back. I mean, you've got this down to a science. I got a feeling that you could probably go on vacation for a month and your team comes back to a perfectly operating business.
Every Christmas down in Australia.
Yeah, the Kangaroo Millionaire. What's up with that?
Well, my wife, as I was saying, my girlfriend at the time, she's my kangaroo. Without her, we wouldn't be here. So that first book I wrote, The Kangaroo Millionaire, is a tribute to her, what she did to push us, and then the mindset of how I got from just, I don't want to say just but a firefighter that was just making, you know, $37,000 a year. Hell, when I got hired, I was making $23,000 a year, right? To where, you know, I did my first flip and I made almost twice what I was making a year.
It's kind of a no-brainer,
where we're at today. But yeah, so that's what that Kangaroo Millionaire is all about. So going down there, spending Christmas with her family, kids down there, so yeah.
So going back to the price per square foot, the taps and everything, you do a lot of new construction. I know at least one of your companies, coast to coast. You know, where are you doing these construction, and how are you analyzing? Like, I mean, we've obviously talked about spreadsheets, but how are you knowing that, like, in XYZ market that I can buy this lot, subdivide, and go vertical? Is there any holdups or things like that?
Well, the beautiful part about where we're at today is the internet, right? And so it's looking. First off, the majority of our new build stuff will be in my backyard. It's Hampton Roads, 7 cities that compromise. It should really be one big city, kind of like Dallas-Fort Worth, right? Pretty much be one big city, right? So we know each city, though, has different requirements. So what we have to do when we're doing absentee stuff, right, is we can fly in if we want. I prefer calling a city and saying, okay, I'm a developer, I'm a builder, I'm an investor, whatever the case may be, and I need to know what requirements are for new builds in your area. What does the minimum lot size have to be? What do the setbacks have to be, right?
Okay.
Do you have any special deed or covenant restrictions in neighborhoods? And if so, what they are. And a lot of this you all can find at every city online is the city comprehension plan. Every city, county has a 5, 10, 15, 20-year growth plan. I call it the cheat sheet for investors. So they can go online and print out the 5-year comprehensive plan as well as the zoning requirements, right?
So who should you be talking to at the city to
So
look this up?
planning and
development?
planning and zoning
Okay.
and permitting, right?
Okay.
And you can print out the comprehensive plan, which shows the city where they're going to dump money over the next 5 years. Then you print out the building and zoning plan, and then we look, right? If they're going to dump money in this area, so let's go ahead and buying ahead of that area with knowing that if I can buy a lot with an older house on it, tear it down, now I know the requirements and the setbacks, that lot fits it, right? And then just have a surveyor, and it's going to be some upfront money, to go out there and double check what you're seeing on paper, on the internet, right? Well, the whole time you have it locked down by contract, of course, doing your due diligence. So that's how, I don't want to say easy, but condensed, we can do that absentee as well.
Well, let me ask some questions about that, because you're looking at the 5-year comprehensive plan, and you're aggressively moving into those areas, acquiring the lots with older homes on it. That 5-year plan hasn't really taken effect yet, I'm assuming. And with that being the case, are you taking and buying that older home and cash flowing it until the moment hits?
Well,
or are you just getting ahead of the curve?
Let me go back.
Okay.
Current 5-year, previous 5 years.
Okay.
So we're seeing where's the money gone, and then where's it already at?
Okay.
And then that's for future. So future will be if I can rent it out, right? Because when I was shooting for you earlier today, a couple things I said is, I never get in without having 4 different exits. Okay, so every deal I do, I will never buy without having 4 different exits. And I don't mean exits out of getting out of the deal, 4 different ways to make money within the deal.
Okay.
So every property I buy, I look at it 4 ways. Can I flip it and make money? Now, when I say new build, I mean that can be a flip, right? Can I rent it out and make money? Can I do a lease option and make money? Can I do a owner finance and make money? So if I can do all of those, well, right, and I'm going to do the deal, because it doesn't mean that I need to rehab it to one standard to rent it out, right? But it doesn't mean that I need to tear it down today, subdivide it and do 2 new builds. I can go ahead and cash flow it for 3 or 4 years. Then when that one gets there, that comprehensive plan actually gets there, then there you go.
You're picking up your inventory before the inventory's got demand.
So one of the things that I saw that Ryan put out, one of my quotes earlier was, now if you're the only one buying in the neighborhood, you're in the wrong neighborhood. Context. I was talking about if we're doing a new build today or a rehab today and we go to sell it, we need to make sure we're in neighborhoods where the appraiser for your end user will be able to get good comps for what your exit price is.
That makes sense.
Context is what I mean around that quote.
Right.
So yeah, of course we buy property in neighborhoods subject to or owner financed that are in maybe lower income neighborhoods, right? For cash flow, waiting for development or growth to get there.
So with all of this to be said, what is your 5-year plan? Like, everybody's got their goals. What's your goals for this year? What are your goals for 5 years?
You know
what are you looking for?
You are probably going to laugh, and some of you will when I say this. I don't have one. I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I've gone through a real big transition in the last year and a half. I build my business to live.
Okay.
I do all this to live, not live to do it. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So do I know how many properties I want to flip this year? Yes. Do I know how amount of money I want to make this year? Yes. Do I know how much I need to buy and hold to never have to worry about bills? Yes. Are we financially independent now? Yes.
Right.
But if you asked me, hey, in 5 years, where's your stats? I don't know. I just like going on 4 vacations a year and knowing that while I'm gone, everything's still going, right? So yeah, I'm not, just because, and I think a lot of people can agree, disagree, we all have different ways of looking at things, but every time I've made a goal, I either made it, right, or I didn't make it.
That's really the only 2 outcomes, right?
Yeah, so why even make the goal?
Right.
just go live life and have your business be able to fund whatever it is that you want to do out of life. I know, so like last night at the hotel room, I think, I shouldn't be saying this in case my family's watching, but I think we're going to Singapore this year instead of Australia, right?
Okay.
So Kim and I were pulling up different flight options, and I got 3 kids, so 5 of us, first class, it's some money, right? And we're looking, so then I was like, okay, how many deals do I have going on now? All right, so if I want to go now find a deal to fund that one trip.
That's cool.
So that's how I look at my future. I don't do it steadfast. Of course, I know where we want to be at, what we want to do, but yeah, I just look at it a little bit differently.
I know one of the things that I'm not going to say it was a mistake because I am who I am today.
Sure.
But when I first got started, I looked at deal volume as a milestone for how well I was doing. And I think I was looking at that from the complete and total wrong perspective because deal flow has nothing to do with income.
No.
So I was going for deal flow. So I was always taking whatever deals I could get. And it wasn't until I started refocusing my purpose from deal flow to income.
Right.
Did I really start doing a change? Because I cut like my deal flow in half. So I was focusing more on the money than I was the volume.
When I came here yesterday to make sure I knew I was going this morning, and Ryan and I were talking, we actually had this discussion. And when I say this, I don't talk bad about anybody. We all have different businesses. I don't care what your business is. I know what my business is, and I grow my business, right? But I look at a lot of these posts on Facebook and some of these private forums and all. Yeah, I mean, I've done 120 assignment deals.
Right.
All right, well, what's your average assignment fee? $4,000. Okay, so 20,
Right.
$4,000, what's that, 460? Right. So I do 40 flips this year. My average, I wanted to work it up last night, is $47,000 a flip. Well, what's that? 1.6 mil. So,
Right.
right.
Deal volume has nothing to do with income.
Exactly. And that's what I want you all to understand. We're all here in different situations, different backgrounds. We like different aspects of real estate. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves as an instructor, as a teacher, as a mentor. Everything's individualized. And what you might like, I might not like. Who's in charge of our mentors, Jimmy, I love him. And he really gets us across on a molecular level with some spreadsheets he has, in the sense of you look at every property, and like you were saying earlier, hey, do I assign it right now and make 20 grand, or 4 months later do I make 35 grand on a flip? Well, what's your better time, right?
I'd probably go for the 20.
I would go for the 20 as well.
Because that 35 might turn into 22.
Exactly.
And there's the risk tolerance there. I mean, 20 today or 35 maybe tomorrow.
So, and that's when I'm saying now, I don't know, I'd be cash. So maybe I can cut down 10 grand of hard money costs, so that 35 is now 45 to where so that's what I mean, guys. Don't pigeonhole yourself into what everybody else is doing. And I love these forums, and they're great advices, but like you'll put out there, hey, what's the best CRM? And you'll get 80 different answers. It's like, what works for you? What works for your business? Figure that out, and then fine tune it within your business.
I'm about to ask you a question that might actually be a complete contradiction to what you just said.
Sure.
But that's going to be, like, we've got new people watching today that would like to be in your shoes in the future.
Yes.
What kind of advice do you have for them? I know you've already dropped a lot of stuff, but like, let's say we have people watching now that are from backgrounds where they have limited capital, limited stuff going on. What kind of advice would you have for somebody that's starting bootstrap from the ground?
First thing, raise money. Okay. First thing, education, knowledge, mentors, right? And when I say education, I'm all about local education. Say something controversial.
Go for it, man.
Nobody needs to be spending 60, 70, 80 grand to learn how to invest in real estate, okay? But with that being said, all my years of doing this, I always hear, well, I have somebody that's going to mentor me at home. Well, if that was the case, they would have already mentored you.
Right.
So I'm about paying for education.
I've sunk 6 figures into mine.
I'm well over that. I'm well
assuming you are.
Yeah. And I still look. I'm spending what most people make a year, a third of that, to go spend 8 hours with one of my mentors here next week or 2 weeks from now. So I'm all about education, okay? But your question was specifically people who's bootstrapped, right? Local RIAs, okay? These private Facebook groups, right?
Right.
But just beware of people that say they're going to teach you, mentor you, or coach you for free without having some type of stake in the game. And it doesn't have to be monetary. Maybe they take a percentage of your deal, which I'm all about. But people that say they're going to do it for free, I'm not doing anything for free outside of my charity work, outside of my church work, okay? So first, education. Second, while you're learning this, constantly raise money. The biggest excuse I hear of newer investors is they have no money. It's an excuse. There is so much money out there, it's disgusting.
Can you talk some about
Sure.
that? Because we're going to have to deal with different mindsets.
Yes.
And for me, money has never been a problem. Like, I've got access to as much money as I could possibly use
Exactly.
because I can't even use all of it. So give us some
Let's talk
feedback.
about it. So one of my things is private money. I'm a big proponent of private money. Private money typically in today's time is going anywhere from 6 to 8%, right? Where the hell is somebody going to put $300,000-$400,000 in a bank and get 6 to 8% and have it secured by first position of deed of real estate? So it comes to being comfortable talking about money. And the only way you're going to get comfortable talking about money is by what? Talking about money, right? Constantly asking people, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I need money to fund my deals. If I don't know if you've seen on my Facebook page, because I did it for my students, how every once in a while I'll go up there and I'll do a scenario to raise private money.
I've actually seen some of them.
Yeah, and it's a flip chart. And you got to just do it. Put it out there on social media. Who cares if you screw up the first, second, and third time? But take a deal and start at 10%, okay? If you're new in this and you need private money, start at a 10% return, okay? And so my typical deal, if you think about this, my typical acquisition is $40,000, and it's gonna be a pop to top, right? And my actual pop to top is 120 grand.
So to pause on that for real quick, what he means by pop the top is if you're going into an area and you can't build more square footage on a house by going sideways, you can go vertical by cutting the roof off and going vertical.
Correct.
So that's what people are talking about when they say pop the top.
So my average pop to top is 120, right? So we have 160 into this, yeah? But my exit for doing that is 239. So if I need to raise that 160,000, I'm willing to give a private money lender 10% return on that if I'm new at this, right? So that's 16,000 a year. Or if you can get it done in 6 months, which you should be able to, that's 8,000. Where are they going to be able to put that 160,000, make 8,000 on it? Now there's hidden cost and all that, but that's on you off your profit margin. That's what they're just making to give you the money. Or joint venture agreements with private money, split it 50-50 if you need to.
That might be expensive capital, and you
Sure.
might not want to give up half your deal, but if you're just now getting into this business, that's a relationship.
Well, it's a relationship, especially with somebody that has that type of money that is already involved in this business too, and then you can learn at the same time. So that might be a type of mentor of what I'm talking about when I said you got to pay, right, for your education.
I JV with people all the time.
All the time.
And they get the benefit of the education, I get the benefit of the help.
So there you go, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. When I mean, you're gonna have to pay one way or another, but why not give up half the deal, and then you're learning from that person at the same time. So there's just so many ways. Self-directed Roth IRAs. There's a lot of people that have self-directed Roth IRAs or self-directed 401ks that the money's just sitting there on the side. And you can take that money and you can teach them how to take that money. They fund a deal, right? All their money goes back in it with their profit margin, whatever you decide that is, and then it becomes tax-free for them. They don't have to pay taxes on it because it came out of their self-directed Roth.
So let me play on the side of the inexperienced new person that's entering into this, that here's all this, you don't need money to get into this business, you don't need this, you don't need that. So you're saying I need some education, which I can get from going to Reyes, I can get this from mentoring and or partnering with other people in town.
Yes.
And you're telling me to raise capital, but I'm sitting here thinking in the back of my head, my inner circle of people, none of these people have the Roth IRAs, none of these people have that, but you're telling me I can go out to Facebook and
Go out to Facebook, social media, right? Put it out there, Instagram, a quick minute video. Hey, private message me if you want to learn how to make 10% on your money with very little risk to you, having first position of deed of real estate. You put that out there and you start pimping it out, you're going to get people that are going to want to talk to you. So, all right, so here's another thing. So where to find it? Financial planners, accountants. okay? You should be calling up every financial planner, every accountant, search them in your area. Hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm in need of some capital. Do you have any clients that want to invest in real estate? Right? Hey, Mr. Accountant, real estate attorneys is another lead source for that. Trust attorneys is another lead source for that. Patent attorneys is another lead source for that, right? Because these are all people that have clients that typically have money and they want their money working for them.
So you're going to have to get over the fear of talking about the money.
That's all it comes down.
I don't want to get into the reasons why I think it is, but people have been taught that talking about money is bad. And I think that is the exact opposite.
It's growing. Look, it's growing up in a middle class family, and you're taught what your parents know, right?
Money should be talked about, because how else are you going to learn about money if you're not talking about it? And to live in this world, you should know about money.
My kids know all about money.
Right.
My oldest is 12, my second is 10, my youngest is 7. They flip houses themselves, right?
I've been watching that.
So, and when I say that, of course, Kim and I have to sign the documents, so don't go all sporadic on us. But whenever they were given money as children, Kim and I never let them touch it. And in the beginning, they used to lend it out to me at hard money rates, teaching them about what? Money. They got a little bit, you can go buy a skateboard now, or you can grow this money. And they've grown the money to where now, over the years of lending it to me at hard money rates, which I'm happy to pay, I needed the capital, right? It's grown to where now they can fully fund 2 deals at one time going on cash.
That's awesome.
And then that profit is what they use to pay for their private school. If they keep going the way they're going now, when they graduate, all of them should graduate with about $600,000 to $700,000. So there's for their what? College. It's for if they want to go. It's for their first house, right? It's for their car, whatever they want, right?
That's great.
But why? It's because we talk about money. It's because I broke that chain of middle class thinking. I pay my kids, I don't pay them allowances. I think that's stupid. Why would you pay a kid, and this is gonna piss people off, but why would you pay a kid to do its bare minimum expected in life? You gotta clean up after yourself in life. You gotta make up your bed in life. You gotta put your dishes up. What I do pay them for is reading books about financial literacy, about mindset. That's what I pay them for.
My daughter, I've got a list of books that she has to read, and that's what she gets bonused for. So it's a very similar thought process. To touch base on raising the private capital that we were just talking about, most of the private capital that I have raised was just for me going to Reyes and just talking about myself, the projects I'm doing. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And before long, just somebody will approach me and they'll just come up to me like, hey, can we go do a lunch or something? I'd like to talk to you about some of the things you're doing. And I might have a little bit of money I'd like to invest. And that's where I've raised millions and millions and millions of dollars, is just hanging out at Reyes. And there's going to be private investors that are in there that want to be in this, but they'd rather just place their capital and be passive.
Rio, you got me saying it, Rio. I said Rio, you say Rio. So Rio's a great source. Also, finding out who the commercial lenders are in your area, talking to them, taking them out to lunch. High volume realtors that deal with real estate investors is another lead source. Sitting down talking to them about money. Whole life insurance policies goes back to the financial advisor, right? Here's another thing too. As you start making money in this business, the sooner you invest in whole life insurance policies or cash value insurance policies for your family, not only as an insurance vehicle, but as a funding vehicle when you get cash value to fund your own deals, and as a retirement vehicle. So when you do want to retire, the sooner you do that, the better. So I know that I have millions of my whole life insurance policies money out on the streets working, right? So there's a lot of people that don't realize that they have all this cash value sitting and it's not making them money. And again, it's another source for private. So RIAs, like you said, number one place to start, okay? And then community bankers, like you said, realtors, commercial lenders, just start talking, get it out on social media.
And don't be afraid of screwing that conversation up, because there's more than one financial advisor. And if you screw up that first one, you now learned what you screwed up. Don't make the mistake again and go talk to the next one, because if you do it over and over again, eventually somebody's going to take it to heart and pay attention.
Listen, here's my deal. I would rather do business with somebody that came up to me that was scared, that was nervous, that was stuttering, knew their numbers, but was scared, nervous, stuttering, than someone that comes up to me all cocky and arrogant, thinking they know it all. I will do business with that person that's newer, that's nervous any day before doing anything. That's just me, my personality.
There's indications of that person's personality through that conversation, though. I mean, if you know too much to learn, then I really don't think I'm in a good position to be working with you.
The minute you think you can't learn anymore is the day when the stack of cards are going to come falling down big time.
Mm-hmm. So we are getting closer to a Q&A session. I've got a lot of people on there right now. This man is a wealth of knowledge. Please go out and follow him. His name is tagged in the comments above. His companies are tagged in the comments above. Follow him on Facebook. This man puts out daily knowledge. You have a daily blog. You've had it going on for close to 6 months now,
yes,
where you just drop some really cool tidbits of knowledge there. I have learned a lot from you, and I've really enjoyed all the knowledge you've placed. But this is an open conversation. You've got experience tracing past a decade with many different market cycles, many different investment strategies you've gone through. You've done many different things in this industry. So we have a wealth of knowledge on the show for us today. And if you have questions, don't be afraid to get them in. It looks like we've already got some coming up.
I'd love to answer some questions.
So let's go ahead and move through. I think I've got some questions coming through. Don't forget that we are ready for any questions as you have them coming in. So while we move to that, any thoughts or any other ways that people might be able to reach out to you outside of just connecting with you on Facebook?
Look, if you go to investorsformula.com, and so it's investorsformula.com, if you go there, everything that we do education-wise, if you want to go to coasttocoastpropertycorp.com or those Facebooks, everything there, property-wise is there. Just Google my name. I'm not hard to find by any means. But
can you spell that for us? It's there in the comments.
Well, yeah, it's there. But one thing I'm noticing right there where it says investorsformula.info, it's investorsformula.com.
Okay.
So that will take you just to our...
So if you're looking at that banner below the screen, that's actually investorformula.com.
Yeah, that info is going to take you to one stream of something that we're due. So go to .com to where you can see the whole platform of all the education.
Let's take a question real quick from the crowd.
So first of all, a lot of love. Thanks again for coming out. I think a lot of people appreciate the fact that you're coming out to hang out with us. This is from Renee, and she was basically saying she may have missed this, but did you say that your wife is in the industry as well? If so, what does she do?
My wife and I started together. My oldest is 12. When my oldest was born, she decided to step away from emergency room nursing and to raise him. And then I had another one, right? A second child, 19 months after that. So yes, she's involved in the business quite heavily, not the day-to-day operations. She is support, she knows where all the money is, she's involved in all the meetings as well, but her main focus is raising our 3 children, doing a lot of stuff through the private school they go to, and running the household as well. I don't know how she does what she does. I could never do it, so we started together. First 4 years, she was involved. She was out there at job sites. She knows I don't want to say this, but God forbid I drop dead tomorrow, she can pick everything up and continue with the legacy that we're building. Yes.
That's great. So do we have other questions popping up?
Well, earlier we were talking about the real estate being individualized and how some people were like, hey, I do 50 deals a second. And you're like, doesn't matter. Bryce McKinley, he was just pointing out that volume doesn't matter, but the money does. Even when he did a lot of volume, breaking 200 wasn't important. But when his average deal went from 8,000 to 17,000, that was just a game changer.
Who said that?
Bryce McKinley. To give you a little bit of feedback on Bryce McKinley.
Well, I like that mindset.
He does about 60 contracts a month. He does
of assignments.
Of assignments.
Cool.
He's pulling about 60 contracts a month, so he's a killer, man.
Yeah,
he's out
I like
there just killing it.
Yeah, so exactly what he said, right? It's not so much the volume, it's how much am I getting paid for my time, right?
Like if I did 60 houses a month and only made $1 per house, like I'm below poverty, but
Well, yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Cool.
Do we have some other things popping up?
Earlier we were talking about going to the Reyes, tomato, somebody pointed that out. How do you build credibility? Like on one hand, you have the person that doesn't know much, or doesn't, I don't want to say it like that, but that doesn't sound like they know much, versus the guy that's cocky. What's a happy medium to where you can really secure that money?
Well, the simple fact is knowing your numbers, knowing where you want to use that money at, knowing, and have a spreadsheet out. As you're talking to people, say, look, where I want to do deals or where I'm doing deals, here's the average acquisition, here's what our average rehab is, here's what our average exit is. Of course, the numbers may vary. Here's what I need, here's what I'm giving you for return. So have some spreadsheets out, have pictures. If you've already done deals, have a little portfolio of what you've already done.
That works well.
At the same time, yes. People kind of ask me why I'm so public with all my businesses, because on Facebook every day I'm putting something out there. Only reason is credibility. Mm-hmm. It's credibility as I grow too, so people can see and to see what's possible for a newer investor as well. So a portfolio, if you've already done deals, goes a long way with me, with other people when you're raising money. If you haven't done deals yet, don't lie about it. Don't lie about it. Hey, I'm new in this game, and again, here's a spreadsheet of what I'm looking at doing. If it might be there's something that you're interested in, take it home, take a look, have your contact information on the bottom. So I think that's the best way to build credibility.
On my side,
Sure.
to tag on to that, and going back to Ryan's question with the cocky/confident, I'm going to have to give my 2 cents on that. Is not cocky, but confident.
Sure.
I am very confident whenever I speak with Reyes about my business, about my experience, about what I'm doing, and about what I plan on doing with their money, because confidence builds confidence. So I do approach people with massive levels of confidence because I am confident in asking them to place $100,000 into one of my deals because I'm confident in my deal. Confidence goes a long way, and that's
Platform speaking for many years, being in front of literally thousands of people. People can tell the difference between confidence and cocky. Mm-hmm. When I said earlier that I'd rather you be a little bit nervous, you can still be nervous and confident.
Right.
But you can't be nervous and cocky.
Cocky's not good. That cocky. You just can't work with cocky because that's just the wrong personality to have. But I'll take confidence all day long.
You know, another thing is when you're raising money as well, and I know it's a nervous thing in the beginning, go with your gut. If you think that as you're talking to this person that they're just not giving you good feedback, you don't want their money, and you don't want to do business with them either. So I think a lot is said to go with your gut when you're talking to people about money and how you feel the conversation's going too, no matter how nervous you are.
Money is a marriage. When
Yes.
you borrow somebody's money, if you're not feeling confident about that relationship up front, that relationship might not end well.
Absolutely, I agree.
We have some other feedback?
Well, on that conversation, I think I'm fired.
Oh.
You're talking about cocky.
It's all good. What else do we
What's
have?
Cameron asking? Do you advise?
Well, I mean, just a preface for Cameron, because I went to college with Cameron. He's fairly new to this industry, so he's been watching our videos, reading some books. But he was asking, do you advise wholesaling to raise capital or talking directly to people to raise capital?
All the above. I said it when I first started. My biggest mistake when I first started this business is I didn't wholesale. I was buying and holding, buying and holding, buying and holding, pulling money out to go buy and hold. All the above, Cameron. To always constantly be talking about private money, always do assignments, always do flips as you grow, right? Have different avenues of flow coming in, so whether it's private money, whether it's hard money, whether it's traditional money, whether it's flipping or assignments, all the above.
You have to be a little bit diversified, because if I'm approached with a property and that specific property does not meet my rehab criteria, why would I walk away from it if I know I can still make a $6,000 assignment on it?
Give me a high five.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be able to be multifaceted in this industry. You don't need to pigeonhole yourself into one specific niche. But I personally, maybe I have some different opinions here. You need to be a specialist in at least one area, but be diversified enough that if other opportunities present themselves, you can still take advantage of them.
I love it. Look, I specialize in real estate side. I specialize in being able to look at a house or a lot and know what I can do with it, right? Without even having to really physically be there. But I'm still diversified in buying and holding. I flip residential to hold commercial, right? That's my cash flow. So ultimate exit, right? That being said, when it comes to speaking, I am very good at sales. When it comes to speaking, I'm very good when it comes to speaking, teaching as well. So yeah, you got to specialize. I love that, man. I'm so stealing that. All right. and also,
I probably stole it from somebody else. So it's all good.
Yes.
So it looks like we may have another statement coming up here.
Should you provide, well, this is DeMarcus Carrington, should you provide your wholesale deals in a portfolio as examples if you haven't done a flip?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that you've done in real estate, even if it's raising private money.
We're taking some education.
Yeah. I have a whole portfolio of all the money I've raised just to show people that other people trust me with their money and with the returns, right? What'd you say about education?
Even if you just got the education, be like, I just invested X amount of dollars into an education.
Absolutely.
And,
If some of you all saw at this point, 15 years of how much money I invested, I will say I'm confident at this point, it's been over $500,000 that I've invested in my education of higher mentors and platform and higher strategies. Absolutely. So yeah.
So whenever, like, probably my second or third private investor that I was able to connect with, what I started doing I built out my own little private investor portfolio. I put it on a thumb drive, and I'd also have a hard copy with me. And if I was meeting somebody new that was looking to invest in my business, I would hand them the hard copy. It would show my HUDs. It would highlight the amount of private capital that I borrowed. It would highlight whatever I paid for, and then I would show the closing HUD, the purchase HUD and the sales HUD, show what I sold it for, and it'd show what my investor made on the deal. And I'd take it from pretty property pictures and all that type of stuff. I'd show them deeds of trust. I would show them the promissory note, real estate lien note. I would show them that to show how they're secured in this, that they're going to receive the asset, which is the real estate lien note. They're going to receive the collateral, which is going to be the deed of trust or the mortgage. And that in the event that things go wrong, which in my history has only happened twice, but on both of the times that it happened, my investors were made whole. And I can give you the phone numbers of the investor. Like, yeah, I lost money on that deal. I lost about 15 grand, but my investor did not lose a dime.
Love it.
And I would just hand all that off. And the more credible that I can make myself, the better it's going to be.
I love it. I agree, thousandfold.
This may be a joke, but we'll throw it out there anyway. Lee Porter was, what's a Reyes?
Oh, real estate. I mean, that's how,
Real Estate Investor
Real Estate
Association.
Association. Yeah, Real Estate Investment Association.
It's your local meetups.
Yeah, look, meetups is another huge thing. Look, here's how ignorant I am. I only figured out about meetup.com 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. For real, I had no idea, right? And then someone said, hey, Mark, why don't you do a meetup? I said, what the hell is a meetup? So we're constantly learning, right? I mean, yeah.
There's so many different angles to approach this business with that it's impossible to be a master of them all, but just get out there and just start making your presence known. One of the biggest issues I have seen through my years, through education circles and in the real estate investing business, is people gain the knowledge but fail to apply it. You know, there's only one way to really become successful in this business, and that's doing the business. I mean, you can go out and learn all you want to learn, but until you take action steps, like some of the things that Mark has already expressed to you, you may have watched through this and glanced over them, but he told you exactly what you need to do to get going in this business. Start attending your real estate investor associations, go to your meetups, network around those people, gain the knowledge, start sourcing private money, and then move forward from there. But if all you do is constantly learn, you're never going to make it in this business.
Look, all the years of me instructing, mentoring, teaching, coaching, whatever you want to say, there's professional students, we used to call them. Mm-hmm. People that literally spent 100, 120, 140 grand on seminars and education and haven't done one deal. And I'm putting a stop to that. I think you're putting a stop to that. I think that's our mindsets going forward is it's quality, not quantity. Mm-hmm. And you've got to get out there and start implementing what you've learned. Stop going to these, I'm not going to say stop educating yourself, but stop spending a lot of money on these other big companies that are come and go, and just start implementing what you've learned. Implement it. Go out there.
Because there's a lot of people that get the analysis paralysis, get the I'm scared mentality brewing in the back of their head, and they let it grow into some monstrous thing. What advice do you have to those people that are stuck in that paralysis mode?
Stop. Just freaking stop. Just take look. Here's what I do when it comes to, I hate freaking paperwork. I can't stand it. I try to delegate all my paperwork. I can't stand it. But there's just some things you can't delegate. So every morning when I wake up, the night before, I made a list of the things that I do not want to do whatsoever. I hate it. I can't stand it. And guess what? It's the first thing I do that day.
Oh, yeah?
Because then it's out of the way. So what the number one thing that you've been having a problem with, whether it's raising money, whether it's putting a deal in a contract, whether it's looking at a property, just implement and do it. And once you do it, shit, you've done it. And then go do it again. And then do it again. And each time you do it, it's going to get that much easier. I hate using that word easier. Get that much simpler to take that action.
What I'm going to tack onto that is going through Some people have that fear of, I don't want to mess up, I can't mess up, I can't mess up. For me, at the very least, I have the opinion of mess up all that you can, because you're gonna gain the knowledge from that mistake. Now, I don't want you to go out there and just willy-nilly buy some house to rehab and go out there, but go out there and start taking action. Go out there and make some offers. Go out there and understand that you don't know everything there is to know, but you're never gonna know everything you need to know until you start doing it. And even then, you're still gonna be constantly evolving and learning. The biggest people that I've seen succeed in this business were the people that were willing to make a mistake. You're gonna have to accept that mistakes will be made. Nobody's perfect, and just go out there and make it happen.
So one of my mentors, and I give credit, Marshall Silver, he taught me this many years ago: fail forward fast. Just those 3 words right there: fail forward fast. You're going to fuck up. You're going to. We're all human. None of us are perfect. Fail forward fast. The key is to learn from it. And if you go and make the same mistake twice, shame on you, because you're an idiot because you didn't learn from your first mistake.
Good one. So do we have some more coming in?
We have, again, a lot of love. A lot of people said, hey, thanks for coming in. The last question I have, and I will say, if you have any other questions, pop them in, because it looks like we're wrapping up and he's got to catch a flight. But Scott Phillips says hi. He says, tell hi, Mark.
Scott Phillips, my man.
Yeah, and he says, do you invest in commercial property?
Yes. So I've said it a couple times, we flip residential and buy and hold commercial. The buy and hold commercial is for our cash flow, and the residential that we flips for our, well, capital.
Do you have a specific asset class on the commercial side?
Yeah,
that you're in?
typically class C or B warehousing,
warehousing.
storage, or office space.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're getting away from the multifamily stuff. So.
No, I'm going to actually diverting back into that. So since you brought it up, we'll talk about it. Where I live, there's a couple of colleges. One that's specific, that's growing drastically now. So what we're starting to look at is lots that we can tear down and then build student housing. And then
student, like fourplex,
fourplexes.
eightplex?
I want to keep them residential style. That way, if anything happens with the college, we can go back to, you know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So, but yeah, that's in that aspect. If there are parcels of land where we can do 8, 10, 12s, and it's really close, like walkable to the college, sure, we'll look at it.
Are you doing development on the commercial side, or because I mean, if you're buying Class C assets, I'm assuming no.
No.
Right.
No. All our developing is residential side. As far as the commercial, we'll fix, but no.
Are you doing public storage, warehouse office?
No. Warehouse office, flex space, stuff like that.
I actually just bought my first commercial property last year, and it was 60,000 square foot of office warehouse.
Nice.
So that was my first acquisition. I was actually very excited about that. Yeah, I mean,
you should be.
We picked it up at 1.2 owner financed.
Yeah.
And it was severely undermanaged. It's a metal on metal building, so there's very little deferred maintenance really. And I really think that the after with like about a 9 cap, we're looking at about a 3.4 million.
So on that 1.2, how much do you have to put down?
We had to put down 400.
And did you borrow that money, or just a private investor?
Borrowed it from a private investor. So I'm 100% financed on the deal. 100% financed on the deal.
And then when your exit, when it's all said and done?
We actually purchased it with the owner financing on a 5-year AM.
Okay.
So this thing will be paid off in 5 years, and it'll cash flow itself during that 5 years. So it'll pay itself off. So essentially, I'm going to get about a $3.4 million asset for free.
There you go.
I won't have a dime of my money into it. So it's going to cash flow. Cash flow right now about $18,000 a month, and after the debt service has been paid off, we'll jump up to about $30,000 to $32,000.
And at $18,000 a month, how much is profit, or is it going straight back in?
It's triple net.
Okay.
So we're looking at triple net. So very little overhead on this building. So after everything's said and done with, maybe knock off 15% off that to 20%, because triple net, we have limited
Explain what triple net is for those that don't know.
Triple net means I don't pay the insurance, the tenant does. I don't pay for the insurance, the tenant does, and I don't pay for the maintenance, the tenant does. The only maintenance that I do on the property is I maintain the roofs and the foundation and the exterior walls.
You said insurance twice. You don't pay for.
I don't pay for taxes.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
So,
No worries. Good.
So yeah, I love it. So
awesome.
If we have any final questions, if not, we'll be commenting later on in the day if we've missed some of your questions. I do appreciate everybody that's tuned in. How does somebody contact you if they want to do business?
Investorsformula.com, investorsformula.com, investorsformula.com. So everything that you need to get a hold of us would be at that page.
I do need to make some things clear. You did not pay to be on this show.
No.
I am not getting any kickbacks or any business that you might do off this show. I am strictly bringing you onto the show because I believe in you. I've watched what you've been doing for the past several years. I've learned a lot from you, and I think it would be great for other people to have the same experience that I've had with you. So if you want to work with this man, I believe in myself that you've put a lot of great information out there.
I appreciate that. It means a lot to me coming from you especially. And one thing I want to dovetail off of that is, look, people say about having to pay for your education. This trip's cost me, and now granted, I don't fly coach, so this trip's cost me probably about $3,000. And when he asked me, I didn't hesitate at it, guys. Why? It's because it's building relationships. So someone said, how do you get started? What are we doing? We're building relationships. We're giving value to you all. I think great value. Go out there, take action.
One of the things, I love what you just said, but you triggered a mindset in the back of me. Whenever I got started, I did a lot of wholesaling. Mm-hmm. A lot of my private investors and or partners came through my wholesaling because people were buying deals from me. And through the purchase of deals from me, I finally got to a point where I had a property. I just approached somebody and I was like, I don't want to sell this to you. I want to partner with you on it. But because of the relationship I had built, that allowed me to kickstart that.
Look, another whole nother lead source there of private money.
So just keep it going, man. Just doing the business will bring more business than you ever thought. So I appreciate you coming in today, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Have everybody a good day. Make sure to follow Marc Hrisko on Facebook because he does a daily vlog that I absolutely enjoy watching.
Awesome, brother. Love you all. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Have a good one.